The next book, Nothing Minor, is the hardcover, which focuses on my first year covering minor league baseball. So in 2019, I was able to spend time extensively in the Southeast, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, and I was able to cover different levels of minor league ball. Yeah, grumbling for knowledge, hungry for knowledge, yeah. So the way baseball is, you have Major League Baseball, which is the top level, and then within minor leagues, you have AAA, which is a level below the major leagues, AA, single A, and then instructional ball. So I mainly cover teams A ball, AA, and AAA. And I did it, part of it because growing up, I played baseball, watched it with my dad. And as a side note, that's how I learned to do a lot of my math. So like batting average, that's how I learned how to do ratios, proportions, things of that nature. And I felt like on the minor league level, a lot of people sleep on going to minor league games because, well, it's not the majors, but your major leaguers go through those ranks in order to get those opportunities. And not only that, when Major League Baseball players are on rehab assignments, like if they've been injured for 10 days, 15 days or whatever, they're normally getting their rehab games in at minor league ballparks and minor league teams. So you get a chance to see Major League ball players, you know, just on a different level. And a number of the players I interviewed are on Major League rosters. Probably the names that come to mind are Tristan Casas, who's a starting first baseman for the Boston Red Sox. At the time I interviewed him, he was a year removed from high school playing A-level ball. And now, 3-4 years later, he's like starting for Boston. Tyler Stevenson, who's a starting catcher for the Cincinnati Reds, I interviewed him at AA. But I tried to do, in addition to like the game recaps and player interviews, which I really encourage you to look at those, there's a lot of insight beyond the game of baseball. I was very intentional of interviewing as many African-American players as possible. We know maybe about 7 or 8% of all Major League players are of African-American background. So I was very intentional of interviewing. Probably about like 40% of players I interviewed are of African-American background, some of whom are on Major League rosters or have seen Major League time. And 2 special sections that I did in Nothing Minor. One is with the Negro Southern League Museum in Birmingham, Alabama, which is a great resource. And it's actually free to attend if you have a group of 9 people or less. And it interlocks with the AA ballpark for the Birmingham team. But the interview I did with one of the umpire supervisors, this will be really important to those in Central Illinois, is actually from Bloomington. And actually, to take it a step further, we found out our parents went to the same church. Wow. And who would have thought that an umpire supervisor who's now based in Denver, Colorado, is from Central Illinois, downstate, however you want to call it. So in addition to getting, you know, fans of all levels of the game engaged, it just gives people thoughts of, hey, let's do a little bit of backtracking on history through the Negro Southern League Museum. Or in addition to playing on the field, there are other opportunities within the game or within sports where you can do these types of things. You know, from the writing end, it just lets you know, writing-wise, photography-wise, whatever, there's a whole world out there that be open to exploring and doing something different. And then Quotes and Notes is my current release. And Quotes and Notes is basically a collection of, I'll say, original quotes I came up with, the exceptional one that I borrowed from my grandmother. But I'll admit, the book that I read that influenced this book is called As a Man Thinketh, where it's on the context of what you put in your head in some way, shape, or form is going to show up in your thoughts, words, deeds, and actions. And just like we talk about your diet physically, we also got to talk about your mental diet. So what I did is the quotes are quotes that I've used to kind of help me. But in addition to the quote, it's an explanation of the logic and rationale so people understand where it's coming from. And then it's space for people to journal. So whether they agree, do they disagree, do they want to go deeper, do they want to go in a totally different direction? It just allows people opportunities to pause and reboot and do a reset. And all of us at different points in time are going to have to do that. Like everything isn't always fluid. Some things are choppy. And sometimes you do have to unplug or cut yourself off or go for a walk and clear your head.